Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a bunch of stuff that I'm getting ready to send out to M.R Tool Repair. Mark Ratkowski is the gentleman who is a proprietor there, and you may or may not have seen him mentioned on several other YouTube channels. There's quite a few YouTube creators out there, YouTube machinists that have used his services in the past. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through and show real quickly a refresher of some of the things I've picked up over the last couple of years that I just kept kind of sticking off to the side, saying, one of these days I'm going to get around to sending them out to get them repaired. Well, I finally decided that I want to get all this done. And, some of the stuff probably not going to be worth doing, but maybe some of the stuff we can actually turn into some really good usable stuff. So the first item is a Brown & Sharpe 6-inch dial caliper. This was featured in a video I did. I think it was called Brown & Sharpe Caliper Repair Fail or something along those lines, because what I ended up doing with this caliper was completely broken. I took it apart and I was able to determine what gear was broken, and I contacted Mark, and Mark was nice enough to send me good used parts that he had taken out of a 6-inch caliper, and I was able to take the parts that I needed out of this little kit of parts and put this back together. However, it's just not right. It feels kind of crunchy in spots, but it doesn't do that every time, which is kind of unusual, and it doesn't want to return to zero every time. So it almost looks like it's returning to the same spot every time right now, right? But if I... oh, look at that. It's just locked up. All right, so something is really rotten with these calipers. So I'm going to send these to Mark. I'm going to send back the parts that he sent me. If he can't do anything with these, I'm just going to let him keep these and use them as parts, as a parts set. And then I picked up recently this pair of 6-inch Brown & Sharpe dial calipers. These, unlike that last pair, seem to work perfectly. They return to zero every time. They're a little dirty, but the problem is there's no crystal on here. So that is completely exposed, and it's a miracle that that needle hasn't already been broken off. Next up is this starret. This is a starret 196, and it actually works, but it sticks, and the dial is, the crystal is kind of foggy and dirty. This is a starret drop indicator. Don't remember what model it is. It's just the thousandths indicator. Nothing really fancy about it, but I like it. I actually had this on one of those mag blocks, and I was using it, and it works perfect, which is one of the things I like about it. I like the starret drop indicators, but it looks like heck, so I'm going to send that out, and hopefully hit that. Next up is an interapid. This is exactly how I got this interapid. This interapid, believe it or not, it looks like hell, but it actually seems to be working perfectly. The problem is we got a damaged part of the bezel right there, and it's missing the lens. And then, oddly enough, there's an extra lens in here, but that's dirty. We'll probably not bother having to put that one on. If he's able to fix the bezel and put a new crystal on this one, that'd be a nice indicator. It's a vertical interapid. This is a bestest. This is a 1/2 thousandths indicator, 0.0005. Again, this indicator works perfectly. The only problem with this indicator is it's missing a face. So I'm going to send that out and just have him clean that up and put a new crystal on it, and that'll be good to go. And we'll take some of these little pieces out of here so that they don't rattle around in there during shipping. Next up is another interapid vertical. This is the first interapid vertical indicator I ever bought. I bought this at an estate sale. I had to buy it off the guy who bought a toolbox full of stuff, and then he was willing to sell me this indicator for 40 bucks, but it does absolutely nothing. It looks clean as a whistle. It looks like it's in fantastic shape, but it doesn't work at all. Even the crystal looks great on that one. So we're going to see whether or not he can do anything about that. This is a Mitutoyo that I just got off of eBay. And I ended up, I paid 20 bucks for this because it was supposed to be in good working condition. And then when I got it, I found out that it's sick. So I contacted the seller and negotiated with him a $10 refund. I said that rather than go through the trouble of the whole return process and sending it back, I'll take it for 10 bucks and send it out and have it looked at. So the problem with this is it doesn't want to return at all. And when it does return, doesn't return properly. So there's something not kosher with that. This is a Mitutoyo tenths indicator. It's 0.0001, which is a little unusual on a drop indicator. And what I was hoping to use this for is on one of my, I have a Mitutoyo bore gauge that needs an indicator. So I thought maybe that would be good for that. This is a very small bore gauge or small hole gauge made by Federal. And it's actually in really good shape. And the only problem with it is it has no dial on it, no crystal. So it's missing the crystal, but it actually works. Oh, and actually now that I recall, it is slow. See how slow it is returning there? So I think it's a little gummed up. But the main thing I'm concerned about is I'm concerned about that needle getting damaged without a crystal on there. I'm not a big fan of the Federal DTIs. This is a dial sync by Brunswick Engineering chamfer gauge, and it actually seems to work perfectly fine. The face is very dirty because the crystal has been missing for a while. So this is something, again, I don't have an immediate need for, but I can certainly improve the value of it by having Mark clean this up and put a new crystal on it. This is, again, a nice starret drop indicator that works perfectly. This is a large face. This is about a 3-inch diameter face, which makes it unique. And it's got a 1/2-inch travel. It happens to have an extra long tip on there right now, so that looks kind of odd, but it's got a 1/2-inch travel, and this is I believe this is a thousandths indicator. Yes, 0.001 indicator, and you can see that it's actually, it's got quite a bit of wear on it, probably from years of use, but it works perfectly fine. And with a new crystal on this, it'll take a lot of this yellowing out of here, and this could end up being a really nice looking indicator. That's one of my keepers. Here's another one of my keepers. This is actually what I consider one of my collectible. This is a Randall Stickney of Waltham, Massachusetts indicator. All right, this is a really nicely made indicator. The body of it, the way it's, it's not painted even. It's got this very heavy bezel around it, and it's got that beveled edge underneath there. It almost looks like a watch face, which makes sense considering Waltham was the home to the Waltham Pocket Watch Company, I believe. But anyways, this mainly I just want a new crystal on this one here because it works perfectly. Fraction there on the. This is a bestest that appears to work perfectly fine. But I believe this has a point broken off. The threaded part that holds the point in is broken off in the hole. Here's a large face bestest. This is a 0.5 thousandths, 0.0005. Again, this is another one that works perfectly fine. Got a little bit of damage to the crystal. I don't think it's actually the bezel. I think it's just the crystal. Bezel actually looks good. So this needs a new crystal. This one actually works perfectly fine. Just missing a point. Here's a nice interapid. It's engraved. Seeing a lot of use. So this one's acting kind of weird. The secondary dial is actually pointing completely away from anywhere where it should be pointing. But it's an interapid, so we got to take a chance on it. Here's a very clean looking bestest. This is unusual because it's one of the few times that I've picked up one of these bestest indicators and the mechanism is completely failed. I can move this and I can hear something clicking inside there, but the dial's not rotating at all. But it's very clean. Has really good dovetails on it. It's not engraved. It's got a lot going for it. So yeah, this is a tenths indicator, 0.0001. And last I have this this old Alina. I think this is an Alina that is actually marked, made in Switzerland, compact. Yeah, compact Geneva. I just thought this was a really cool indicator because it has a secondary dial that is actually, it's almost like a face that moves. Yeah, so if I turn this, if you watch, there's a disc. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a secondary dial there that's actually a wheel behind it. It's an unusual design, which I thought was kind of cool. So if this can be saved, I might keep it for myself. I think these are the last two. This is a Federal Testmaster. This is a tenths indicator, 0.0001. And it actually actuates, but it has trouble, doesn't want to return to 0 every time. So there's something seems a little screwy with that. Something's not kosher with that. And this one is another Federal Testmaster. This is a vertical, but this one actually seems to work perfectly fine, but it's missing a crystal. So that might be an easy one. All right, I'm going to take a quick look around the sharpe, but I think this might be it, and that's plenty. So I'm going to end up packing all of this stuff up carefully. I'm going to send this all out to Mark. Oh, I did find a couple more. Well, let's look at this one first. This is a Mitutoyo vertical indicator. It actually works, but it's got kind of a funky, doesn't seem to want to return to 0 every time. So I'm not quite sure what might be going on with that one. And then this one is one of my collectible indicators. I'll probably hold on to this one for myself. This is a large-faced Ames indicator, and again, this is the BC Ames Company of Waltham, Massachusetts. So it's another Waltham, Massachusetts company, and this works perfectly. This has an unusual dial, the way this moves, and it's just really got a lot of grunge and dirt, and there is some staining on the face behind this. So my hope is that he'll be able to remove this crystal, maybe clean up that face carefully, and put a new crystal in it and make it all pretty. This thing works perfect though. This is a thousandths drop indicator. For the time being, I'll just put it back in the drawer in a safe place, and just you know, every once in a while I'll just look at it and say how pretty it is. All right, that ought to do it. Hey guys, in this box are the indicators back from the trip to M.R. Tool Company. So I did start to open the box and I said, oh geez, you know, I should wait. Let's do this on video. So good packing job, as to be expected. I think Mark said that he was able to pretty much repair everything with the exception of, I think, maybe only one or two. And we'll talk about those when we get to them. So I figure what we'll do is we'll do a before and after type thing. So we'll open it up, take a look at the item, and then I'll splice in a quick look at what it looked like before. so that we can see the transformation. Judging from the size of the case, yeah, this is the Mitutoyo vertical indicator. This is the 513-952. This one was not totally broken. This one actually just had a problem where it didn't want to return to 0 every time. Oh, I see. I'm looking at this, I'm wondering what the heck's wrong with it. He's got a plastic protective film here, I guess, on this thing. Kind of like when you buy a new TV, you know, it's got that plastic film on it to protect it, so that when you take it off for the first time, it's flawless. Oh yeah, that looks pretty. Body's all nice and cleaned up. Now it returns to 0 every time, which is what this was not doing before. Nice. All right, see, the next up is the large starret. Oh yeah, it looks a lot nicer. Next up is the interapid vertical indicator. Oh, my mistake. Okay, so this is the case that the vertical interapid was in, that I shipped to him for repair, and for whatever reason he put this one back in that case. So the problems I listed with this one is that it had no point, it was way out of position on the sub dial, and the main dial only rotates 11 thousandths. The sub dial is now on 0, right where it's supposed to be, and the main dial now does rotate as it should. If I can get my big finger in there. Yeah. Yes, this is the vintage Ames indicator that I sent him, that I asked. I believe this was working, and I just needed a new crystal for this one. I said, good movement, try to make pretty again. That crystal that's on here is so clean that unless the light's reflecting off of it, it almost looks like there's no crystal there. Unfortunately, this has now got an issue. Huh, that is weird. And I can see what's happening is the dial, it looks like this is rubbing, looks like the new crystal might be rubbing on the needle. Not sure. It's weird, when I took this sticker off, you see that? Something's going on here. Pull up on that, it actually released. And watch. Something's wrong with that one. Well, I'm sure Mark will take care of that for me. Nobody's perfect. Might be just something happened in shipping that caused that to get out of whack. I don't know. This is another interapid case. This is a 310B-4. Works perfectly now. Yeah, so my notes say that the 310B-4 was sent in because the movement was completely inoperative, and I remembered that this one had a really nice body. It was in really good shape physically, but it just didn't work at all. So I remember now that that is definitely the one that was in this case here. Plus the 310B, I think, the 310 as opposed to a 312 would indicate that it is an older one. Next up is a bestest. Now this one's clearly been repaired. Got a new crystal on it, and it's working perfectly. Again, that's the plastic film that's on there. I'm going to leave that protective film on there. Let the next owner take that off. This was just missing a crystal. Let's take a look at how we fared on these Brown and Sharpe dial calipers. One of these was one that I had attempted to repair myself. Do too well. Ooh. Damn these boxes. Duh. Oh yeah, that's pretty. So this is the 599-579-4. Nice and smooth. Returning to 0 every time. Oh, that's pretty. This one is the 599-579-5, and I believe that the only difference between this one and the last one is the dial. This is black dial as opposed to the silver. Also working nice and smooth, returning to 0 every time. They're a little dirty, but the problem is there's no crystal on here. This was a beyond economical repair. This was the Alina. This is the one that I thought was really kind of neat because it has a interesting sub dial. I like those stickers he's got. That's when you're unpacking it, makes it handy to see which is the unrepairable and which is not. Oh, okay, great. This is my very specialized Federal. This is the Test Master .0001. This is the IDS 186. That got cleaned up really nicely with a new crystal and repaired as far as stickiness goes. So that's working perfectly now. And the reason why this is important is because this is a very specialized indicator. It actually belongs in a bore gauge that I have. Actually, this had no crystal when I got it, and it was sticky, so it's all set to go now. So another best test, the 7032-1, looking real pretty. This was missing a contact point and had had a damaged crystal, so it got a new contact point. So this needs a new crystal and a brand new crystal. This is a Federal DTI that was just sticking. So it's received a new, this one has the switch on the side. So it's working fine now. And it also has a brand new crystal. And again, I'm going to leave that plastic on there for the next owner to take off. Looks like another vertical interapid. And this is the 312B-4, so this is a newer version. That one's perfect now, ready to go. Yeah, this looks like this is going to be the Starret 196 that I sent in. And here it is. Got a new crystal. Oh yeah, nice. No more sticking problems. This definitely got a new crystal. This is a 7031-2. This is one of the ones he was unable to repair. This is the 7029-1, and I believe this is the one he said the point is broken off this part here, and that this part here is not available for this one, which is unfortunate because this actually, the movement on this one is fine. 7029-1. The vertical Federal Test Master DTI. Oh, this is the Starret 25 series I sent. No, I'm sorry, this is the Mitutoyo. This might be the Mitutoyo that I bought on eBay, and when it arrived, it was damaged. Yeah, this is the one that was damaged upon arrival from an eBay seller, and he gave me a partial refund, and I agreed to keep the indicator and have it sent out and repaired. This had the bezel, the crystal that was popping out of the bezel in one corner. Obviously, that's been resolved. It's got a new crystal, and it was very stiff and hanging up. Oh yeah, now it's smooth as glass. This is a flat back one. I think I'm going to put this in my bore gauge. I bet you this is the old starret I sent in. Although this might be the Randall stickney. No, it is. It's the old starret that I sent in. I recognize because the old face on it. Working nice. Looking nice too. Here's a chamfer gauge. It looks a lot better than it did. I think this one was missing the crystal altogether, and it was just a miracle to me that the thing even still was working. It wasn't, the movement wasn't damaged, the needle wasn't bent. And that leaves the Randall stickney. This is the one that I wanted to have for my private collection because it's a early, like, Massachusetts manufacturer, and it's just a really rugged feeling and looking indicator, and I kind of figured that with a little bit of love it could be something special for me anyways. And there it is with the new crystal on it. This is just such a nicely made indicator. That one is going to be NFS, not for sale. Well, obviously, somebody spots it in my toolbox and gives me a crazy offer on it, it's gone. All right, I'm going to do a little goodie package here from Mark. See what we got. We got a couple of M.R tool repair pens. Fixing all that measures is his motto. Got his phone number and his email on there. Of course, Mark's got a Facebook page, M.R Tool Repair. His email address is mrtool2010@hotmail.com. And he's got his phone number on here too. All of that information is on his Facebook page. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is the crystal that I asked them to send me for the best test indicator, and there's the contact point I asked for the best test indicators. Business card. The M.R Tool Repair Cozy for your beverage of choice. Oh, more business cards. All right, good. Oh, look at that. Stickers. Am I going to be one of those guys? Sticker guy? I mean, obviously I'll keep one of these, but... And this is a refund check on... Initially, Mark thought he was going to be able to repair one of those ones that came back that he has the orange stickers on there. I guess he thought maybe he had a used one that he could rob the part out of, and didn't end up working out that way. Or he found something else wrong with it. I don't remember exactly, but... Anywho, so to sum up, we had a total of 19 various indicators and 2 dial calipers sent out for a total of 21 items. 2 of them were unrepairable. one, I'll reach out to him and explain the issue with it, and I'm sure he'll resolve it because he's got a really good reputation. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take care, and if you like what you see, please hit the like button.